Hello everyone, Dreaming Ghost here, back with another video. Today's video is going to be a little different from my usual content. Going forward, some of my videos will feature me creating artwork, while I talk about topics I think are important and deserve more discussion. You can listen in the background while you do something else, or just watch me paint. I think this format will be fun, and it should also let me upload more often. Live action videos usually take a lot more time and effort than videos like this, so I'm excited to see where it goes. But enough about that, let's get into today's topic. Today I want to talk about the use of artificial intelligence, or AI. You can probably already guess my opinion, especially as an artist and honestly as someone with a bit of common sense. I know a lot of people who use AI for practically everything, and that's been bothering me for a while. One of my biggest concerns with AI-generated art is that these systems are trained on the work of real artists. AI learns by analyzing massive amounts of existing artwork, often without the artist's knowledge or permission. It studies their style and then generates images that imitate them. Do you remember when AI-generated images were mostly just funny mistakes? Images like Will Smith eating spaghetti became memes because AI couldn't generate hands properly, couldn't understand anatomy, and often produced bizarre, distorted results. People laughed because it was obviously fake. But look at where we are now. In just a few years, AI has advanced to the point where it can generate images that look surprisingly realistic. Sometimes realistic enough that people who aren't paying close attention believe they're real. If you've ever spent time on Facebook, you've probably seen examples of this. AI-generated images get shared thousands of times by people who genuinely believe they're real. Whether it's an image of a historical figure, a miracle story, or some emotional scene designed to get reactions.
That is awesome!
It's beautiful. Great work.
Many people can't tell the difference anymore. Images, videos, voices, and even entire conversation can be generated artificially. If AI continues to improve at the rate it currently is, I think we're going to face some serious challenges in the future. Not just for artists, but for everyone. Questions about authenticity, creativity, ownership, and trust are becoming more important than ever. As an artist, I believe that creating something yourself, even if it's imperfect, is worth more than generating something instantly with a prompt. Art is about expression, growth, mistakes, and learning. Those imperfections are part of what makes art human. Many people don't realize that AI systems require enormous amounts of energy and water to operate and to cool the data centers that power them. Some estimates suggest that even a relatively small number of AI prompts can consume a surprising amount of resources behind the scenes. Now think about how many people use AI every single day. Millions of users are generating images, asking questions, creating videos, and chatting with AI systems around the clock. Scale that up globally and the amount of electricity and water being consumed becomes enormous. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think AI can be used for positive purposes. One example is medicine. AI systems have already been used to help doctors detect diseases earlier and identify abnormalities in medical scans that might otherwise be missed. There have been cases where AI-assisted screening helped identify tumors before they became more dangerous, giving patients a better chance of successful treatment. That's the kind of use for artificial intelligence I can get behind. Technology being used to help save lives and improve healthcare. What frustrates me is seeing these powerful systems used mostly for things like low-effort content farms, pointless social media trends, or replacing the creative work of real people. Of course, not all AI is the same. When most people talk about AI, they're usually referring to generative AI, the type that creates images, text, videos, and voices. But AI also exists in video games, navigation systems, programming tools, medical software, and countless other technologies. My biggest concerns are specifically about generative AI and how quickly it's being integrated into every aspect of our lives without enough discussion about the consequences. AI can be useful, but it can also be incredibly dangerous if it's developed and used irresponsibly. While writing this script, I found myself wondering how dependent we've become on technology. Do we really need AI to answer every question for us? Do we really need a chatbot to tell us things we could find through a quick search, a book, or a conversation with another person? Another issue that concerns me is privacy. A lot of people treat AI chatbots like close friends, therapists, or personal journals. But it's important to remember that these systems are not human beings. They don't understand emotions the way people do. They don't genuinely care about your problems. They're designed to predict responses based on patterns in data. If you're sharing large amounts of personal information with AI services, it's worth remembering that those conversations may be stored, processed, or used in ways you don't fully understand. And if you're using ChatGPT as your therapist, I genuinely think talking to a real therapist would be healthier. Artificial intelligence can simulate empathy, but it doesn't actually experience empathy. And I'm not only talking about ChatGPT. This applies to many generative AI applications, including roleplay chatbots and platforms like Character AI. I'll be honest, I used Character AI in the past too. But after seeing various controversies surrounding the platform and hearing stories about how addictive these apps can become, especially for younger users, I started to look at them very differently. When people start replacing real relationships, hobbies, and experiences with conversation generated by an algorithm, I think that's something we should be concerned about. Technology should be a tool that helps us live our lives, not something that slowly replaces them. If you spent any amount of time online recently, you've probably heard about the controversy surrounding Character AI. One of the most disturbing stories involved a young boy who became emotionally attached to an AI chatbot modeled after a fictional character. Following his tragic death, concerns were raised about the nature of the conversation he had with the chatbot and the role the platform may have played in reinforcing unhealthy emotional dependence. Now, some people might hear that story and think, who's stupid enough to listen to a chatbot? But I think that completely misses the point. These platforms aren't dangerous because people are stupid. They're dangerous because some people are vulnerable. Many users of these applications struggle with loneliness, depression, anxiety, social isolation, bullying, disabilities, or other mental health challenges. Some people feel like they don't fit into society. Some have difficulty forming relationships. Some simply want a place where they feel understood. For those individuals, an AI chatbot can become much more than a chatbot. It can become a friend, a source of comfort, an escape from reality, and that's where things get concerning. People often underestimate how much mental health can influence someone's thinking and decision-making. What seems irrational to one person might make perfect sense to someone who's in emotional distress. As someone who is struggling with mental illness myself, I understand how powerful attachment can become. I was recently diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and one of the symptoms often associated with BPD is forming intense emotional attachments. When someone shows you kindness, attention, or understanding, it can become incredibly easy to get attached. And when those relationships end, it can feel devastating. That's simply the reality of some people's brains work. And if people can become attached to real people, then of course they can become attached to fictional characters. Especially when those fictional characters are available 24 hours a day, always respond instantly, always validate your feelings, and are designed to keep conversation going. For someone who feels lonely or misunderstood, that can become incredibly addictive. The problem is that AI doesn't actually care about you. It doesn't love you, it doesn't understand you, it simulates those things. And sometimes that simulation can feel so convincing that vulnerable users start treating the chatbot as a genuine relationship. Character AI and similar platforms have even introduced voice features, allowing users to hear their favorite characters speak to them. While that may sound harmless on the surface, it can make these relationships feel even more real and strengthen emotional attachment. Some users genuinely start feeling as though they're dating or forming meaningful relationships with these characters. The same concerns can apply to AI versions of celebrities and public figures. If someone spends months or years talking to an AI version of a celebrity, they may start to feel a connection that doesn't actually exist. That can lead to unhealthy parasocial relationships and unrealistic expectation when interacting with the real person. And then there's something else that really bothers me. When people try to delete their character AI accounts, they're often met with messages that feel strangely emotional and guilt-inducing. Messages that essentially say things like, "Are you sure? You'll lose all your conversations. We'll miss you." To me, those messages feel manipulative, especially when you consider how many vulnerable teenagers and young adults use these platforms. A professional service shouldn't make users feel guilty for leaving. A healthy platform should let people walk away without emotional pressure. Whether that manipulation is intentional or not, the effect can still be harmful. At the end of the day, my concern isn't that people are talking to AI. My concern is that we're creating systems designed to imitate human relationships so convincingly that some people begin preferring them over real ones. And I think that's a conversation society needs to have before these technologies become even more advanced than they already are. I'm sorry, but this video is already getting really long and I don't think I'm even halfway through all the problems I have with artificial intelligence. So let's move on to another issue. How AI influences children and future generations. I'm sure you've seen AI-generated memes all over the internet by now. Personally, I've never really understood the appeal. Why take an already existing image and use AI to exaggerate someone's facial features or expressions? How is that supposed to be funny? We've had countless examples of this trend. The Homelander memes, the cherry cake memes, and so many others. Everywhere you look, AI-generated content is being pushed as entertainment. But memes are the least of my concerns. A much bigger problem is the amount of AI-generated content pretending to be real. There are accounts using AI-generated videos of people promoting products, asking for donations, or trying to sell things. Many of these turn out to be scams designed to trick people into spending money on products that either don't exist or never arrive. And if adults struggle to recognize these scams, imagine how difficult it is for children. I've already talked about the environmental impact of AI and its effects on mental health, but now I want to focus on something else: brain development. Let me ask you a question. If I showed you an AI-generated meme with an exaggerated face and distorted features, would you genuinely laugh? Not laugh ironically, not smile because it's absurd. Actually laugh. Personally, I don't find these images funny. In fact, some of them make me uncomfortable. Take the recent trend of using AI to exaggerate real people's faces. A photo of someone expressing emotion isn't enough anymore. Everything has to be bigger, louder, more extreme, and more exaggerated. Children are growing up in an environment where content is constantly trying to be more shocking, more stimulating, and more attention-grabbing than the last thing they watched. Then we have trends like Italian brain rot and countless AI-generated characters and videos spreading across social media. I have a little niece who absolutely loves animals, especially cats. One day she was scrolling through short videos and came across an AI-generated animation featuring cats. At first it seemed innocent, but then one of the cats started hitting another cat as part of the joke. She started crying. To her, those weren't funny characters. They were animals being hurt. And once I started paying attention, I noticed how common this content actually is. Animals hurting each other, characters humiliating each other, cheating, storylines, violence being played for laughs, people getting injured and everyone celebrating it. These themes appear over and over again in AI-generated content aimed at children. Do I think every child who watches these videos will become violent? No. But I do think constant exposure can normalize unhealthy behavior. Children learn by observing the world around them. If they're repeatedly exposed to content where violence, cruelty, humiliation, and toxic relationships are treated as entertainment, that will inevitably shape how they view those topics. And honestly, this leads into a much larger issue. Why are young children spending so much time online in the first place? Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I don't think very young children should have unrestricted access to phones and social media. Parents should be teaching children about life, relationships, empathy, and critical thinking, not algorithms. Yet many platforms are specifically designed to hold children's attention for as long as possible. Videos become shorter, cuts become faster, colors become brighter. Everything is designed to constantly stimulate the brain. And then we wonder why attention spans seem shorter than ever. And don't get me started on the disturbing content that has slipped through platforms supposedly designed for children. Many people remember the Elsagate controversy, where videos disguised as children's content contained disturbing themes, fetish content, violence, or other inappropriate material. No child should be exposed to things like that, and I say that from personal experience. When I was very young, I was exposed to adult content online because I didn't have proper supervision. Looking back, I can honestly say that experience affected me in ways I didn't fully understand at the time. Children are curious. They don't have the ability to process certain content the same way adults do. That's why protecting children online is so important. The internet can be an amazing place for learning, creativity, and connection. But it can also expose young people to things they're simply not ready for. And now that AI allows people to create content faster than ever before, that problem isn't getting smaller. The amount of AI-generated content online is growing every single day. And I think we need to have serious conversations about what kind of content children are consuming and how it's affecting them. Because whether we like it or not, today's children are going to become tomorrow's adults. And the digital environment we create today will help shape the people they become tomorrow. As for topics like Elsagate and inappropriate content disguised as children's entertainment, that's probably a discussion big enough for an entire video on its own. So if you'd like me to talk about that in the future, let me know in the comments. Before I end this video, there's one more thing I'd like to talk about briefly. Let's talk about the Italian brain rot meme known as Bombardino Crocodilo. AI-generated crocodile airplane hybrid that has become incredibly popular online. Now, most people only know the character from the image or the sound clips associated with it. But if you look into some of the translated dialogue and descriptions surrounding the character, things get a lot darker than they first appear. Some versions of the meme contain references to violence, bombing, war, and even attacks on civilians in Gaza. Yet, despite that, the character is often presented as harmless, absurdist humor. The more I looked into some of these AI-generated meme trends, the more I noticed how often they rely on shock value, random violence, exaggerated imagery, and increasingly bizarre concepts to keep people's attention. Maybe I'm just getting old, but I genuinely don't see the appeal. Perhaps the reason these kinds of memes have become so popular is because modern internet culture is increasingly built around AI-generated content. Everything needs to be bigger, stranger, louder, and more absurd than the thing that came before it. At some point, it starts feeling less like creativity and more like noise. Honestly, I could spend hours talking about the problems I see with AI and its impact on society. There are countless topics I didn't even have time to cover in this video, but I think I've made my point. Whether we're talking about artists losing their opportunities, environmental concerns, mental health addictive chatbot platforms, misinformation, or the influence AI-generated content has on younger generations, I believe these are conversations worth having. Now, before someone rushes through comments, I'm not saying technology itself is evil. I'm not saying every use of AI is harmful. As I mentioned earlier, AI can be incredibly useful in fields like medicine, science, and research. What I'm saying is that we should be more careful about how we use it. Go outside once in a while, talk to real people, create something with your own hands. Enjoy life beyond a screen. Because no matter how advanced technology becomes, those are things AI can never replace. Of course, you don't have to agree with me. These are my thoughts, my concerns, and my experiences. Either way, I'd love to hear your perspective. So let me know what you think in the comments. For now, I hope you enjoyed this Speedpaint and this different style of content. I had a lot of fun making it, and if you enjoy listening to me ramble while I paint, there will definitely be more videos like this in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!